Okay, so we have a home valued at $215,000. There was a down payment placed. The mortgage was amortized over 25 years at 2.25%. Find the monthly payment. Okay, so for the payment, you just go 215 minus 12,500. You multiply that by a table rate divided by 1,000, and that's where you need that table, right, to be able to do these questions. And if not, there's a PDF out there. First day back, right? 2.25 over 25 years, that's 4.36. Okay? You can tell I did my homework because I have 4.36 circled, right? All right. And then let's go and answer that. I'm just gonna have my key out here to make it a little bit faster. This is so it's somewhere on here, but I guess I didn't have the updated version here. Sorry about that. There we go. Now we're going. Okay, so that is 202,500 times 4.36 over 1,000. Okay, that if you multiply that and divide, you get 882.90. This was on the answer key yesterday anyways, right, that I posted, so there's that. Also, let's keep going. Find the interest paid in the first month. So first month interest, that's lowercase I. You take your mortgage, you multiply it by the interest rate divided by 100. Okay, so it's 2.25 divided by 100, which turns out to be this. Do not round. And then you take that and divide it by 12, right? Because you want just 1 month out of the 12 months. So 202,500 times 0.0225 divided by 12, it's 379.69. Okay, 379.69 for that. So now find the principal paid in the first month. Principal, you take your payment and you subtract that interest that you just calculated. Okay, so 882.90 minus 379.69. Okay, so when you do that, you get 503.20. 0.20, I think it's 0.20. No, 0.21. So that's how much principal, and these together make up the payment, right? The principal and the interest, right, always make up the payment. Calculate the total paid in interest over the life of the mortgage. This is the total interest, so the TI. You go payment times 12, because that's how much it is for a year, times 25 years in this case, and you subtract the mortgage, right, like that number up here, from it. And so you get I think wonder if the answer key was off then a little bit here, because I think D I just added later. So this will be news to you, right? So 882.90 times 12 times 25. I'm going to write that down first. So you paid the bank this much for a loan that was originally 202,500. So that's 62,370. Okay. And so that's, I'm just going to stop there because the rest, right, was basically based on what we've done before, right? Unless there are any other questions on this, if you do, type it or let me know, and then we'll move on to insurance. Yeah, Remo? Sure. Is that good? Yep. Okay, then we go to page 13. Page 13 in your books, okay? Pause the recording there for a bit. You will remember that, right? Okay, so highlighter, if you have one, great. Tenant package, right? So there's a tenant package policy, insurance policy that protects renters, right? Protects renters from loss of contents and personal belongings. Okay, we're not going to do that example. I'm going to skip it. Okay, we're going to do them all later on. Homeowners insurance. Okay, protect homeowners, condominium owners, and tenants from fire, burglary, storm damage, and so forth done to the property. Covers contents, the building, and liability. Okay, deductibles are between $200 and $500. In fact, I will tell you this, folks. Mine is $1,000. I have $1,000 deductible insurance. You know why? Because my monthly payment went down by $30 a month. You pay a lot less a month if your deductible is high because you're much less likely to make a claim. I will not make a claim unless I absolutely have to and it's a really big deal, right? So in this class, only 200 to 500, that's all we are going to deal with. Okay, so you get the idea. Premiums increase based on the number of claims, right? So that's something you need to remember. Policies can be comprehensive or broad, standard, right? Broad is the same thing as standard. Use insurance rate tables for these types of questions, and I will show you those in a bit. Let's move on. Tenant insurance, insurance for people renting a house or an apartment. So you can be renting a house, right? Covers the contents of the home and apartment. House insurance is insurance for people owning a house or condominium. Covers the contents of the home and the building itself, okay? Lending institutions will not release the mortgage until proof of property insurance is given. Okay, so that's a very important deal there. And the bank will tell you that anyways when it's time to buy a home, right? Several factors influence the cost, type, and the amount of insurance you purchase. Some of these factors include your location. Okay, now we don't need to worry about how that is determined. But there are various locations, like types of areas that houses are in. The insurance companies have that. They have a system where they know based on your address which area you fall into. So there are four areas. There's Metro Winnipeg. So Metro Winnipeg is like inside the city for the most part. There's Area 2, Area 3, and Area 4. Okay. The reason why they have different areas is because if you're outside in a rural area, you you are further away from a fire hall, right? So that's the first problem. You may not even have a fire hydrant close to your home. So if they need more water, right, it takes longer to get it there. But and some areas outside of Winnipeg don't even have a full-time fire hall. Like they don't have like a staffed fire hall. They all have volunteer firefighters, which means they all have their jobs. And if there's an emergency, they literally take the call and then go into the fire hall, get ready, and then drive to the fire. So most fires, by the time they get to it, it's just to control it, not necessarily to prevent your house from burning down. So right, like so the insurance companies, they know that, right? Coverage, type of coverage that is it standard or broad is called versus comprehensive. And by the way, the difference between standard and comprehensive is not always 100% clear, like if you look it up on the website. But the fact is that comprehensive covers a lot more than standard, and that would involve you digging into that document and really reading everything very specifically. But comprehensive is a lot more right? It includes almost anything. Like if you have a bike in the shed and it's stolen, it would be covered, right? And stuff like that, for sure. Standard, maybe not, right? Deductible, obviously, $200, which is pricey, right? Versus a $500 deductible, which is less. Okay. Deductible is the amount you have to pay to make a claim. That is very important for you to highlight, actually. I put that in there. Should have been in bold. Deductible is the amount you pay when you make a claim. So if you make a claim that your bike is stolen and it's $3,000, that bike, if you have a $200 deductible, you would only get $2,800 paid by them. They would not pay the full $3,000. Okay. Discounts. You get a discount if you are claim free, meaning you haven't made a claim in years or maybe never. Your home is a non-smoker home, a monitored alarm system. It could be, it's the age, like discounts, there are more, but these are the main ones, okay? Credit score is also a good score lowers your insurance premium. Okay, a good credit score, this is fairly new, but a good credit score is also going to lower, it could be a discount for you because the insurance companies have noticed that there's a correlation between a good credit score and responsible homeowners, right? Because you take care of stuff, so less likely that you're going to make a claim. Okay, this is new. Okay, so write this down. Didn't make it into the book. Insurance is taxed 7%. It's basically the PST, right? Therefore, 3 dots is therefore, multiply answer by 1.07 to get after tax premium, to get after tax premium. Okay, insurance is taxed, so I'm going to put this in a bit of a bubble. So I want you to, I mean, you're going to remember because the formula that I will give you has that in it, so it shouldn't be brand new. Okay? Make sure you have this written down, and now we will start with the formula. Okay? I'll give you one massive formula which you can basically use for any type of insurance question. You just have to be careful and make sure you account for everything. Okay, so if you pay attention, so whatever you're doing right now that's distracting you, right about now I would say turn it off, right? Pay attention. This is like the meat and potatoes of today, okay? The meat and potatoes, okay? If you don't eat meat and potatoes, then whatever else you eat instead, that's what this is right now, okay? All right, so here's the formula, okay? Ready for this? Insurance. So I just call that INS, right, for short. Insurance would be the table rate. Oh, that's table, right? Oh yeah, I'm gonna need that table, right? The table rate, oops. Maybe let me write it out first and then you copy it. Table rate plus overage times dollar per thousand divided by 1,000. Okay, and all of this is going to be in a big square bracket like this. Okay, and this square bracket would give you an insurance premium that would have a $500 deductible attached to it. Okay, so I will write this down, $500 deductible. Okay, so this whole thing, make sure you write it down correctly. This has to find its way onto your study sheet. I used to, like, students always ask me for a formula, so this is it. And I kind of like it too, because I can show you how to use it again and again, and it always works. Okay, and it's not done yet. You thought it was done? Nope. Times 1.10. If you multiply whatever you get in this square bracket here by 1.10, that would now turn into a $200 deductible. You'd be paying more. Okay? So the 1.10 takes care of this policy now being a $200 deductible policy. And now the last one, and it depends on the question, you multiply everything you got so far by 1.07, which is taxes, 7% tax. Okay? So I will leave it there for a bit so you can write that down. I would even have the little brackets that are under so you know which part goes where and what does it stand for. And I will tell you this, okay? This is a fluid formula, meaning it can actually become really short. Like if they're not asking for tax and if they're not asking you to get the $200 deductible, then these two pieces will be gone. You're down to this. It could also be that there is no overage, which we're going to talk about in a bit. Then this whole thing is gone. You're down to just the table rate. So this can, right, reduce to a very simple formula, but this is like the full-blown, this is everything that you could possibly get thrown at you. This takes care of it all, okay? All right, let's put it to the test and let's see if that works. Now, let's go to the first example here. Joan rents rents an apartment. So that tells you that this is tenant. Okay, this would be tenant. And wishes to get coverage for up to $65,000. That's what that is saying. That number is always how much, like the maximum you're insured for. If something breaks and it only costs $15,000, well, guess what? They're only going to give you $15,000, right? But $65,000 is the coverage you're looking for. You want standard coverage, right? Standard coverage and a $500 deductible. What is her annual payment before and after tax, right? So you want before and after tax. And it's always going to be per year, so you don't have to worry about monthly or anything like that when it comes to insurance. Okay, now you need that table here, the orange looking one. And I will zoom out once to show you that there are two tables for insurance. Let me zoom out. If you open the booklet, right, so this is the amortization table you need for your mortgages. If you open that, you will see two different tables, this one and this one. Okay, you have two different tables. This is the tenant one, so whenever you're talking rent, you're going to use this table, which is a lot easier to use. Okay, and then if it says homeowners, obviously you're going to write Manitoba homeowners, you're going to focus on this one. They both work this very similarly, but why is this the homeowner is a lot more complicated, and this is why. Watch. If you watch carefully, because it has 4 areas to consider. It has 4 areas. Otherwise, this whole chart would have just been down to that. Okay? But because there are 4 areas, it's a little bit more work. Versus the tenant one, watch that, it says all areas in Manitoba, right? So there we don't need to worry about the 4 areas, so it's a lot smaller. The table is a lot smaller, okay? All right. Let's go back to this. Okay, so I know that it's tenant because it's renting. Okay, so I'm gonna use that simple, this one right here. Let's see if I can fit everything in there. So 65,000 is the coverage. So go ahead and look at the coverage amount column and go to 65,000, which is right here. Right, it's right there. And it says that we're picking, you have to choose between standard and comprehensive. In this case, it says you want standard form coverage. You can only pick one table value, okay? So that's what it comes down to. So you match these and you get $315 per year. That would be a $500 deductible. Okay? So 315, grab that. And it says, if we look at our formula here, I will go insurance is equal to, I'm going to grab my table rate. The table rate is 315. Okay, write that down. Overage. What in the world is overage, folks? This is what it is. It doesn't apply to us in this case, but look at the camera carefully, right? The coverage gets up to 75,000. When you get over it, there's an overage charge. They charge you more for every $1,000 you get past the 75. So let's say you wanted $100,000 worth of coverage. You have gone over by 25,000, right? Past the maximum 75. So there's a way we're going to deal with that, and that's what the overage is. In this case, we're not, because we're within, right? We're within our limit, so no worries, okay? So our overage is going to be 0, okay? $0. We don't have to worry about that. So that would be the square bracket in a sense. So this huge thing just is really just get your table rate You recognize that there is no overage, you don't have to worry about it. And now you have to see what else. It's a $500 deductible. So you know how the formula goes times 1.10? That would get you a $200 deductible, but you do not care about it. You kind of omit that, okay? And then it says times 1.07 to get the tax. And in this case, we want before and after tax. So I'm going to go times 1.07 like that, but omit the 1.10, okay? Because we do not want the $200 deductible price. We just want the 500. So this here reduces to 315, right? So this would be before tax. 315 would be for, because you add this up and then you do not add taxes to it. It's just 315. 315 times 1.07. Let's go ahead and find out what that is. That would be 337.05 cents. Okay, this is after tax. After tax and before tax. Okay, so we gave both of them. Okay, that's how that works. Let's stick to tenant for now, just tenant insurance. So I'm going to skip example 2 and 3 because those we deal with house insurance. Okay, so let's jump to this one here. This one right here. What is the practice one, right? What is the annual cost to insure an apartment for $65,000? $65,000 again. Comprehensive, $200 deductible, before and after tax, they're asking. On a test or an AC, I'm just going to ask you one or the other, not both, but I want you to know how to do both. So this is apartment, right? So this will be tenant because of this. It's tenant insurance. So we're sticking to that easy chart, okay? So let's use our formula. Insurance is equal to table rate. You grab this, 65,000. In this case, we want comprehensive. So it's $400 that we write down. Are we over by any chance? No, we're not. We didn't even get to the 75,000, right? We want that $200 deductible. So we will have to multiply that by 1.10. And we do want after tax as well at some point. So we're going to have to go by 1.07. Okay? So these, whatever is inside the square brackets, that's your first goal. That's what you want to take care of first. Then do the rest. So this will be 400. Let's do the 1.10 first. Okay? 400 times 1.10, that's 440. I'm sure some of you did that in your head already. This is before tax, right? Then 440 times 1.07, that would be after tax. All of these are per year. Okay? Hope you're there yet. So far it was all tenant insurance. So let's do some home insurance now. Let's go back up here to example 2. Okay, example 2 says Brent owns a house in Metro Winnipeg. It tells you which area you live in. They have to do that to narrow it down. You want 175,000 insurance coverage, right? Comprehensive with a $200 deductible. And then what's the annual rate before and after tax? Okay. So we go insurance is equal to, we're going to do our square bracket first. Now we need to use that other table. We need to use this one. And I note that we are in Metro Winnipeg. We want this coverage, 175, and comprehensive. So I'm going to go over here. We're dealing with Metro Winnipeg, and we want comprehensive. And down here, you go to 175. 175 is right there. So you match 175 and comprehensive in Metro Winnipeg, so that's 668. Okay, 668. We did not max out. You max out at 200. 175, that's 668. So we go and put this down. 668 plus 0, we're not over. It's coming after this, right? So table rate plus overage, which we don't have. We want a $200 deductible, so we have to go times 1.10. We do eventually want after tax, so we got to go 1.07. Okay, so that would give us 668 times 1.10. That is $734.80. That would just be it before tax. 734.80 times 1.07. I'm leaving it on my screen here, right? Oh, what did I do there? 786.24. That's after tax. You take that before tax, you just multiply by 1.07, you get your after tax. And now, this is the scenario where everything is going to be, like, you're going to have to watch out for the overage, okay? You ready? Never ready. Okay. Jill you own a house, so this is homeowner's insurance. In Pine Falls, that doesn't say anything. Within 8 miles of a fire hydrant, doesn't really say anything to us. But I guess that is the criteria to fall under Area 3. Okay. She wants $225,000 of insurance, and if you remember, the maximum on our chart is $200,000 for a house, so we know we're going to be over. You want standard insurance, you want a $500 deductible, and you want the payment before tax. Okay. All right. So how would this pan out? You go insurance is equal to. Let's go get our table rate. 225 standard in Area 3, right? So Area 3 is over here, right? My pencil is Area 3, and my highlighter is at 200,000. That's the maximum you get to. There's an additional cost for going over. Anyways, let's match the 200 and Area 3 comprehensive. That's $799, and you pay $391 for every $1,000 past the 200,000, right? This 200,000 here. So you write down the $799 and you remember the $391. Okay, so we go $799 is our table rate plus, we're going to do a blank here, And right about here, I'm going to write down the 391 and I'm going to write it over 1,000 already. Put it in brackets like that. And what goes over here is the number of dollars that you're over 200. That's basically what goes in here. So overage is 225,000 minus 200,000, which is the max, and that is 25,000. And that goes in there. You're gonna pay $391 for every $1,000 you're past 200, right? And you happen to be 25,000 over. That is your square bracket, including the overage there. All right? And then we look at our formula. It's a $500 deductible. So remember, the formula calls for this. I actually put it down, but I scratch it. It's not going to happen, right? It's not a $200 deductible. That's why you scratch it. Yeah, Kaden. Yeah. This one, the 391. That one came from, you know how I got the 799, right? Then there's the 391 right under it because we pay $3.91 for every $1,000 you get past the 200. Yeah. So I write down this 799 and I write down the 391 right away over 1,000. And then this I do after, like I figure out how many thousands of dollars am I over, right? So this 200,000 here is always going to be 200,000. It's always going to be like that for a house, right? Because that's the maximum that your chart provides you with, right? And so then the whatever you're over, you need to multiply by that 391 and then divide it by 1,000. We'll do like not just today, we'll also do some more tomorrow. So by the time we're done, I think you can have a pretty good feeling on this. So right now it might seem a little overwhelming, but I know we'll get there, okay? And this is before tax. So you know the 1.07 that the formula calls for, not going to happen, but because it's before tax that this question is specifically asking for. So it actually reduces to just whatever is in the square bracket. Okay, so I'm going to go arrow here. I'm going to go 799 plus, let's do this in our calculators here. So 25,000 times 3.91 divided by 1,000. That's 97.75. Okay, and that, when we add that, that's 896.75. That's what the question was asking for. Okay. I will do one more. I'm thinking I'm going to take a risk here to see where you guys are at. Okay. Maybe it's a risk for you too. Can you do question 2 here at the bottom of page 14? Give it a try. It's tenant insurance that goes over. There's an overage there. I want to see where you're at. So I'm going to ask you specifically to give me the after tax after-tax premium here for question number 2. I give you like 5 minutes or so to do that one, and then we'll do a countdown. We'll all type it into our chat. I'll do a countdown, and we all hit enter at the same time. Okay, and then we'll see what we all got. It's okay if you get it wrong today. There's no big deal at all. I know this is new. Okay, so here we go. It's tenant insurance. Okay, apartment, we're at tenant insurance, $90,000 coverage, standard with a $200 deductible. You want it before and after tax. Now, if you go to tenant insurance, right, you should immediately realize that the coverage amount that we're looking for is going to be over, right, what the maximum on the table is. So take that 75, if you can, subtract it right away, right? Let's subtract it. What's happening to the colors there? If you subtract it, you get 15,000. Okay, you're over by, that's the overage, you're over by 15,000. So insurance is going to be, now we go back to this, right? 90,000 standard. We don't have 90,000. You're only up to 75,000. So you got to take that 359 and remember the 450 because that's how much you're going to be paying extra per $1,000. So to take the 359 plus $15,000 times 450 over 1,000. Okay, and you square bracket that. Then you continue looking at the two numbers that you're supposed to multiply by. Times 1.10. Is that applicable? And the answer is yes, because the question is asking for a $200 deductible policy. So you go times 1.10, and we're going to go times 1.07, because we want taxes as well at some point. So let's clean this up a bit. So we find out 15,000 times 450 divided by 1,000, that's 6750. 6750 is what we get for this little chunk here. So 359 plus 6750 times 1.10 times 1.07. Okay, so let's add this up. It's 426.50, right? This is 426.50. Let's multiply that by 1.10. That's 469.15. That's before taxes. Then we take that and multiply it by 1.07. Right? So I just take that number and multiply it by 1.07, and that is $501.99 after tax. Okay? So that's what you were supposed to have gotten, right, after adding the taxes to it. Okay? And maybe the 15,000, I will show that I'm adding it there. And these two are from the table, right? These two numbers are from the table. So write that down. Let's do another one. Let's do another go at this. One more before I let you go. Let's go to page 15. Let's try question 5 right now. Question 5, I'll give you 5 minutes. Try that one. Try to come up with, it's only after tax that it's asking for, so try to do that, okay? Okay. All right, so let me see here. Question 5. It's a home. We're in area 3. We're insuring for $215. Comprehensive. You want a $500 deductible after tax. Okay, so area 3, $215. By the way, you should recognize this is home insurance. You can take off the $200,000 because it's $75,000 for tenant and it's $200,000 for house. You don't even need to remember that. Just go look it up, right? It's $200,000. So we know that this scenario has an overage charge, right? You're going to be over. So I'm going to start my insurance here. I'm going to get that table rate. We're in area 3, comprehensive. So area 3 is right here. I go to comprehensive. I need to go to the max for sure. $799. That's $799 again, right? And then $391. I'm going to remember both of those. So it's $799 plus $15,000 over, which I'm going to be charged $391 per $1,000 that I go over. Okay. $500 deductible, so I do not need to do times 1.10. You do not, right? So I will do this 1.10, cross it, but you do multiply it by 1.07 because it's after tax that we want. So let's clean this up a bit. So that's 15,000 times 3.91 divided by 1,000. That's 58.65. That's kind of my square bracket thing, right? And then times 1.07. Let's clean that up. So I'm going to add $799 to this and 58.60. And then I'm going to multiply that by 1.07. So this is the answer. I don't even know who you are anymore. Who said what, but right? Like I appreciate you answering and you trying. If you tried but you just didn't have it in you to type it in, I encourage you to do that. But it's okay if you didn't. That is the answer though. Okay. Now, I want you to try all of the questions on this page. We're gonna do some more tomorrow. Okay. So homework. Page 15, right? All of it. And I will post the answer key to that, so you can't say that I didn't know how to do it. It was right there, so try to follow along, okay?